Hello everybody, thank you for coming today. I'd like to talk to you about Mydex. We are legally chartered with a social purpose to work on behalf of individuals to help them become empowered, and the way that we do that is through giving them control over their data, give them the ability to get things done more efficiently. Now, in order to be a community interest company, you have to do some very special things. You have to sign away the assets of your business into an asset-locked enterprise. It means for the founders and the shareholders of the company, there is no flotation, there is no trade sale, there's no billion-dollar flotation at the end of it or being bought by somebody like Google. And the reason the founders decided to do it that way was that we knew trust was absolutely paramount for people in how an organisation like this worked. On top of that, we've been working around identity for a long while. We're part of the government ID assurance program, and we're one of the 8 identity providers in the United Kingdom that has been authorised to provide identity services to the population of the United Kingdom. But let's go back to the landscape that we're operating under. There are communities that we serve, the individuals fundamentally. What's the problem set that they're dealing with in their life? Well, they're overloaded by information. It comes in lots of different forms, it's poorly organised. Trying to make sense of your life and understand your life is quite complicated. For organisations, they've got a whole series of problem sets, whether they are mobile phone companies, local authorities, or application developers developing on smartphone environments or whatever. They've all got issues around trust and confidence about, is my data being stored correctly? Are people using it for the right reasons? So trust is eroding between organisations and their customers at the end of the day. They've also got a huge operating cost around transactions. Transactions are terribly expensive. Simple things like it costs 40p to print and post a letter. In the Mydex platform, it's 4p a year, send as many as you like. So there are huge economic challenges these organisations are faced. Now, if you're an organisation that's working with Mydex, they're looking for identity services. How many people have to turn up again and register for another username and password? Organisations don't want that responsibility. There are huge complexities around it. Mydex addresses that by giving individuals a Mydex ID which is under their control. It allows them to log in anywhere that supports the Mydex ID, which is based on open standards, Mozilla Persona or the OpenID Connect. We can act as the identity provider for any organisation. That gets them straight out of the username and password business, which is costly and adds little or no value to an organisation. It's safer and better for the individual to build up their own identity. On top of that, they're looking for assurance or verification that the person is who they say they are. An individual with a Mydex ID, with a personal data store, is able to deliver proofs of claim about themselves. I have a driving licence, I live at a certain address, I earn a certain amount of money, I have the rights to these types of services. So identity services are a doorway to getting a frictionless experience in how they engage with organisations. The other part of this is that many organisations know a lot of stuff about individuals, and they could assert proofs of claim on behalf of individuals and say, David has a driving licence, David is insured, David lives at this address, David pays his bills on time. But of course they're not allowed to transmit that information to third parties legally under the Data Protection Act, not without the individual's consent. Building up systems that would actually allow those policies to be implemented and those consents to be implemented are terribly, terribly expensive and almost impossible to envisage when you're doing it in an organisation-centric way. What we enable an organisation to do is hand those digital certificates, those proofs of claim, back to an individual who can store them and distribute them when they need to. Now, this is a very empowering thing for an individual.